Thankful for this opportunity to be with you on this Tuesday here of the Word of Encouragement. You know, we see things around us and we look at different leaders, we look at different situations, and it just seems like such a major reality. I mean, they're in office or they're corporate leaders or they have influence in the world, and it feels like they're just in a place that they can't be moved. Well, I am sure the early church felt that way and more about Saul of Tarsus, who became the Apostle Paul. Saul of Tarsus was the rising leader of the Sanhedrin, well educated, and he had full authority from the Sanhedrin to begin to persecute the believers. In fact, it was so major that they were scattered throughout Judea and began to go out preaching the gospel. He didn't realize it at that time, but God was using the persecution to move Christianity forward in a great way. But if they would have been able to explain to us how they felt, it would be probably much deeper than how we felt or feel right now. I mean, nobody was going to move the Sanhedrin. Nobody was going to move Saul of Tarsus. And yet in Acts chapter 22, when the Apostle Paul recounted his trip on the Damascus road, he says in verse 6, "And it came to pass that I, as I made my journey, was come nigh unto Damascus about noon. Suddenly there shone from heaven a great light round about me. And I fell unto the ground, and heard a voice saying unto me, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And I answered, Who art thou, Lord? And he said unto me, I am Jesus of Nazareth, whom thou persecutest." In a moment, that leader was brought down, literally. He was brought down on his face, he was blinded, and he heard the voice of the authoritative, ascended Christ, who is at the right hand of the Father. And through that encounter, he opened his heart to Jesus, and instead of being the main opposition to the Christians, he began to be the main missionary to the Gentiles, and was a great help to all the Jewish churches. It's an amazing thing. We need to pray for those in authority. We need to believe that God at any time can change things. Think about how many governments just in the last couple of years have changed leaders, gone from very liberal to very conservative or vice versa. We've seen situations occur that we never would have dreamed of. You know, we look at some of the wars and things that are frankly quite ominous, but God can put down the leaders in a moment if it's not time for the end times to be coming. And so we need to understand the same God that stopped Saul of Tarsus in his tracks is the same God who's on the throne today. I love to read Psalm 2. He looks down and he laughs. The leaders think they're so powerful, but it's no problem for God to change the equation. And we want to see them come to Christ. And so let's realize nothing's immovable. When God shows up, everything changes, and he's our God, and we can trust him.